The Memphis Grizzlies have turned quite the corner this season, but it's not in the regular season standings. It looks as though they'll finish the second or third seed just like last year. The massive change they've experienced this season is becoming the clear heel of the NBA. They used to be everyone's favorite bright young team. Now, there's been legal trouble for their star. Reports of too much partying have been factored into poor road game performances, and well, Dillon Brooks is Dillon Brooks. These young guys have been propelled into stardom, or at least they like to think that they have after a second-round exit. However, the one vet on the team that has provided a voice of professionalism and a steady hand to lean on is Steven Adams. As a 29-year-old, Adams is second oldest to veteran newcomer Danny Green, and just 2 years older than Dillon Brooks. Sure, if you thought Brooks' antics made more sense as a much younger man in the league, I would understand. But no, the dude is 27, and I guess, theoretically, at his peak of powers. Alright though, I'm done bagging on Brooks. Maybe. This is about the underrated key to their success, the New Zealander that's been out since January because of a PCL strain. The PCL is the strongest ligament in the knee and is a key factor in stabilization. Normally, recovery only takes about 2 to 6 weeks, but this has been months. And then at the beginning of March, the dude got stem cell injections to try and help recovery. He's set to be reevaluated a mere days before the Grizzlies' final regular season game. The franchise will still get his voice of wisdom as the elder in the locker room, but his impact on the court is going to be a huge loss if they can't get him come playoff time. On the defensive side of the ball, Steven Adams has been the perfect piece to fit around Jaren Jackson Jr. Jackson's a favorite for Defensive Player of the Year, as he's been able to be a powerful help defender. Adams hunkers down in the post with a strong body and lets the long limbs of Jackson swoop in for blocks and as an extra deterrent. It's not too far off from what the Bucks do with Lopez and Giannis. And without Adams, Jaren has been forced to step up and be the all-around key defender night in and night out. It doesn't help either that Brandon Clark is out with an Achilles. If an opponent did manage to get a shot off against this Grizzly defense, any miss would often find its way into Adams' hands. He's averaging 11.5 rebounds this season and leading the league by a whopping 5 offensive boards a game. It's a career high for the Aquaman lookalike in both categories. His superhero strength is able to box out basically anyone, and he's able to muscle his way in to give his team a second chance for basically 10 extra points. And his strength comes into play well beyond just the defensive side of the ball. Steven Adams has turned his killer screening ability into a potent tool at Ja Morant's disposal. He can set them on the three-point arc and give Ja space to shoot. But the more productive move has been to set a screen, let Ja bolt inside, and get his man behind him, and then as Adam rolls, he also pushes the opposing big man out of the way, giving one of the most explosive finishers in the game a clear look at the rim. Today's game is all about the stretch bigs that can nail the pick and pop, but this duo has turned old school and leaned into the grit and grind of the Memphis franchise. But here's where the better Stephen A has leaned into the next generation of big man tools. In his 2 seasons with Memphis, the center is averaging 3 assists a game. Now, you might want to shrug that off at first, but what if I told you that average puts him only behind Ja, Tyus Jones, and Bane in playmaking? He's basically Nikola Jokic with a bench press. Alright, well, maybe not. Maybe you should shrug that one off. But Adams' ability to catch the ball at the top of the key and be patient enough to watch his young-footed teammates dash around the court until they're open has been massive for the team. It's allowed them at times to be able to invert the floor and let everybody play off of the big man instead of focusing on Ja and Bane on the perimeter. He simply makes timely passes to the inside or is able to send it back out to a shooter. So what is Memphis going to look like if they can't get their glue guy big man back before the playoffs? Well, that second overall rated defense is not going to be looking quite the same. I would still take them to make at least the second round, but if they have to go through the Nuggets at some point, I think Jokic is going to have a field day on the court without Adams there. Yes, Jackson is dynamite in his own right, but all it takes is a couple of dumb fouls, and the Grizzlies are relying on Xavier Tillman in crunch time. And Tillman versus Jokic isn't exactly a favorable matchup. And honestly, it's become so perfect that this has become the best case scenario. They better hope that they get the Warriors in the first round. Golden State beat them last year and still has Steph and Clay, but their big man situation and inside defense has been horrid this season. And the Grizzlies can utilize that to make it Warriors guards versus Grizzly guards plus Jaren Jackson. And then you pray to the grizzled god that Zach Randolph and Steven Adams can make it back before the second round. The rivalry can continue to boil over, and we can see more Dillon Brooks versus Golden State, all in hopes for the strongest player in the league to get back and set a screen for his team to cut to the finals. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.